Hi, everybody. Sam Berkow here from SIA Acoustics, a division of RDA, and I'm sitting with RealAcoustix founder Richard Lenz.
Hello.
RealAcoustix is a company that makes acoustical diffusers and other treatments to absorb bass, absorb a wide frequency range sound, scatter sound, and we're going to spend today talking about a number of topics with Richard.
Sounds good. I appreciate it.
Great. Topic number one, scattering versus diffusion. There are lots of ways to break up a wave. One way is to use irregular shapes, triangles, pyramids, hemispherical divisors. There are lots of ways to break up a sound wave. You can have irregular surfaces, and that will take the waveform and take the specular reflection and scatter it over a number of angles and lobes. Or you can try and diffuse it, where a complex surface with a series of wells phase shifts the energy over the diffusive frequency range to give you the widest spread.
Right. Yeah, I always go back to Schroeder.
Mm-hmm.
That's, Schroeder created the device we now refer to as a diffuser, which ended up being the quadratic resonant diffuser based on his 3 years.
Is there a picture of Manfred Schroeder right up here now?
Oh yeah, there will be.
Okay. Hi, Dr. Schroeder.
Got to give him credit. So,
Oh,
yeah.
great.
But what he described scattering as, in very simple terms, was the pattern of a reflection. Doesn't matter what that pattern is. It is the pattern of the reflection. So when he was creating diffusers, he was looking for a specific type of energy reflection.
Distribution over space
as well. Yeah. And and he ultimately came up with it. But in his terminology, scattering is simply what kind of reflection are we getting off of that device. So it's going to be different for, as you said, for a pyramid or a barrel or anything, multiple angle boxes, whatever the case happens to be. So scattering to me is always going to be a definition of what is that reflection.
Great. I think one of the big unknowns or misunderstandings about diffusers, and particularly quadratic residual diffusers, which is a name that comes out of the mathematics used to define these surfaces by Dr. Schroeder, a Bell Labs fellow of great import. Have you ever seen his resume?
Oh yeah.
It's
incredible. Yeah.
It's in the Audio Engineering Society. I think it took 4 or 5 pages to include. It was the number of patents and articles is impressive. When you have a diffuse field, the net energy flow is zero in any direction. It's equal, energy is going in every direction. That doesn't really happen in recording studios because you get a semi-diffuse field where there's some diffuse energy, but there is also these reflections that go on for 3, 4, 5 interactions with boundaries.
Right.
And by the time they've gone a number of mean free paths in a room, they start to decay away and they're gone before the sound field becomes truly diffuse.
Right.
The question is, what is the advantage or disadvantage of a diffuser versus a scattering surface?
The biggest advantage of a diffuser, and again, when I talk about diffusers, I'm going to talk about quadratics. Mm-hmm. QRDs, as they're commonly known. The biggest advantage is, number one, there's pattern control to it. That's huge because we're not wasting energy going all over the place like we would with just a standard pyramid or something like that. So this energy comes back, in the case of a one-dimensional, like what you see behind you, it comes back in a very horizontal pattern back to the listener. In this case, we're on a stage, so it comes back to the musicians and to the audience. In a diffuse field, which they can now, it comes in also in a very specific pattern, and it has multiple reflections off of it. So it's a whole different animal than just scattering.
Great.